Hi, welcome back to another exciting episode in my channel. So, as some of you may know, a couple of weeks ago I posted a recipe for a nice jumbo prawn British Bangladeshi style curry, and I mentioned the base gravy they used, and this is a base gravy I was shown when I was 15 back in 1991. Do the maths. So it's really simple and it makes a lot of sense. And you're going to be seeing me cooking one or two dishes with this as well. So it's not a huge batch. So we have 5 large onions, white, 6 nice red ripe tomatoes, 2 cloves, 2 bulbs, of garlic, and that amount of ginger. So don't get too precise about the ingredients, but we'll come back in a second. So easy as that, there's the prep done. Don't bother peeling your garlic unless it's really tough skinned. As you see, more authentic cooking, you see the ginger and garlic paste is always brown because they usually get the most of the thick part off. So no need to even peel the ginger. Did I say garlic? Sorry. So there's the prep done. So we're going to heat up some oil. So nice hot pan. We want reasonably generous amount of oil. So about 200 millilitres of oil. What oil? If you want to be authentic to Indian restaurants, the 3 standards are vegetable oil that comes in big tubs. Then the next step up will be oil pomace, which is a blend of inferior olive oil. Or if you're really lucky, not on the arteries, but it's more expensive, you're going to get Kaiba ghee. So I'm using vegetable oil. So what we want to do is just put those onions in. Onions first. You don't need to chop them up very finely, because we're just going to stir fry these until they start to brown and soften. Once they're about 70% the way we want them, we're going to add the ginger and garlic and finally the tomatoes. So that's been about 6-7 minutes now, and give it a good stir. The layers of the onions will all separate. Make sure nothing burns, but you can essentially leave it. There's a magic or secret or nice twist to the ingredients coming up that makes a really big difference to this dish as well. So another 10 minutes perhaps, we'll come back and we'll add the ginger and garlic, and you'll see those onions sweated down, releasing all the moisture. So as this recipe is pretty personal to me and not as generic as many of the others, let's face it, this is really neutral. It's ginger, garlic, onion, tomato. Now I'm not even adding salt, for the simple reason that I want to monitor my sodium intake, and I'll be adding salt to the finished dish when I'm actually cooking with this. If I want to add coriander, I'll add it to the finished dish. So we have a totally neutral base here. I think the chef might have even been from Nepal. Doesn't matter, the ingredients are from Lidl's. So this is what you call neutral. You know when you go to a restaurant and you might be with a couple of people and every dish looks the same and tastes the same, and people saying, oh, the difference between a vindaloo is and a madras is one's got a potato in it to show it's a vindaloo, because every dish looks the same. It looks the same, it's probably going to taste the same, isn't it? So you're going to get unique characteristics with the finished dishes. I'm not adding any spices. I'm keeping this totally neutral. And you know, I've reflected on this recipe. It was some time ago, 1991, so that's 30, I don't know how many years ago. And it really makes sense, So it's quite old school, but I'm not old enough to be too old school, but 1991, this is how we made it. It wasn't very significant at the time, but very neutral, which will give you very individual dishes when you come to cook with it. So salt can be monitored, coriander, spices, you name it. definitely no chili. You add all those ingredients too early, they'll bleach out anyway, especially the coriander. Should be added later, because all you're doing is boiling the hell out of these vegetables. All it is really a really nice texture built with neutral basic ingredients. So the juice is coming out of those onions. We're nearly ready to add the ginger and garlic. They need sweating down, and they haven't been cut up very finely, so they're going to take some sweating as well. So we'll come back in about 1 minute and add the ginger and garlic. Just made a little bit of room there so we can sizzle off. All we need to do is sizzle off and soften the ginger and garlic. I'm going to leave that there on the high heat. And the great thing about this, ask yourself, if you've ever eaten a hot dog from a hot dog van, they ask you, do you want onions? And if it's a good hot dog van, they ask you, do you want the onions fried or boiled? So what do you think is going to taste better, fried onions or boiled onions? So this is another great advantage of this dish. It's all fried. Yes, we're going to add some water to it later, but you get that maximum temperature and it reduces cooking time and maximum taste. That's what it's all about. Taste, texture, speed and efficiency. So just look at that garlic starting to fry on the outside. That's great. I am going to mix it in, but I just want to get that nice sizzle and deep flavour. Another minute. Garlic and ginger nice and toasted. All we're going to do now, this is the secret ingredient. I'm calling it secret just for the simple fact that I forgot it out of the ingredients. Do apologise. And we need to toast these. Just a handful of cashew nuts. I'm not adding them after the onions, sorry, the tomatoes, because they need toasting. If you ever toast nuts, the taste's just great. You just need to soften them slightly, exactly the same way we did with the ginger and garlic. That only takes about a minute or so, starting to toast already. So now we can give the whole thing a good stir. So now we're going to add those 6 tomatoes. No need to de-seed them. People talk about, oh, shall I de-seed and skin the tomatoes? Definitely not. So we're just going to cook that down. When the tomatoes soften, we're going to add some water. We want the tomatoes to almost disintegrate. So that's been about 3 minutes. Onions have started to soften. They don't really need to fry, but just disintegrate. We'll just neutralise all the oniony type ingredients, if you like. I'm adding just enough water to cover it. So a pint of water went in. Might be different if you're using a different type of pan, but I'm just going to let that boil now. Now we've locked in that fried taste. Just going to boil that for until I see the tomatoes. All you're going to see is the skin left, and the flesh of the tomatoes are going to melt in or disintegrate in with the sauce. So nice high temperature. So what couldn't you possibly like about this? This has got more emphasis, doing this base gravy, more emphasis on the cooking the dish. You know, you've got your canvas here. Now what colours are you going to use? What paint? What picture are you going to paint? Now that's an interesting analogy to the beauty of this dish. So I'm just going to boil that down, and I'm going to blend it into a really smooth paste. And I might even add some water if it's a bit too stiff, and that's it. So the thumbnail is what it actually looks like once it's cooked. I don't think there's any point in making this video over 10 minutes just to see this boiling down, but it's going to boil. You're going to get some oil floating on the top, tomatoes disintegrated. Let it cool down, blend into a really smooth paste, and do check my next video or 2 or 3 where I'm going to be using this, and we'll see the magic happen. So thank you very much for watching. Do try this recipe. If you don't like it, I'm not going to hold it against you. Happy cooking.